Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a 3D era Mortal Kombat enjoyer. These games have never really been taken seriously within the competitive fighting game community, but these games also didn't take themselves seriously. The 3D era of Mortal Kombat was so goofy and raunchy that they've become a little time capsule of all the awful stuff from the mid-2000s we used to think was cool for me. And I love it. This trilogy was also pretty mechanically interesting as well, and they have a lot of cool tech in the movement and combos that I feel like a lot of people missed out on. With punishing people in these games with a juggle will truly make you feel like an elder god. But none of that actual important stuff matters right now, because this isn't a ketchup and mustard video. Today, we're going over Mortal Kombat's magnum opus of a single player experience, Deception's Conquest Mode, which is not to be confused with Deadly Alliance's Conquest Mode, or Armageddon's Conquest Mode, or the 90s live-action TV show Mortal Kombat Conquest, spelled with a C. These are all wildly different from Deception's Conquest Mode, which has you playing a semi-open world adventure that takes place throughout all of the important Mortal Kombat realms. You can run around all over the place, do side quests, meet your favorite characters, find tons of secrets, and learn a lot of lore that really made the Mortal Kombat universe feel expansive. This was mind-blowing to me when it came out, because before this, the average single-player fighting game experience was just beating up CPUs with maybe a few bells and whistles and objectives attached. What am I saying? This is still the average single-player fighting game experience 20 years later, with only Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode really trying to step up and do something similar. And you know, I appreciated World Tour mode, but it still doesn't beat Deception's Conquest mode for me, because I think Conquest is peak Mortal Kombat. Against all odds, this mode is impressive, fun, and extremely atmospheric, while also being a true digital shitpost with one of the most frustratingly lovable protagonists ever. So if you've ever wondered if video games could be art, join me as I explore the greatest story ever told in fighting games. The mode starts off in Earthrealm, where we see a bunch of kids play pretending that they're fighting in the next Mortal Kombat tournament, with one kid sitting on another's shoulders pretending to be Goro. I genuinely really love this, because it makes the tournament feel very real to me. This tournament is important and will affect the fate of the entire world, and these kids are literally raised to become fighters for it. Some of these kids will grow up and die to some random jobber's fatality, but right now, they're just playing pretend and mythologizing the literal monsters who want to destroy them for fun. And that's kind of where any kind of subtle storytelling stops, because we're then introduced to our main character Shujinko, which, yeah, is the Japanese word for protagonist. He's a young dude obsessed with taking down Shang Tsung and winning Mortal Kombat. And he isn't the most popular Mortal Kombat character either. In fact, he has a reputation of being one of the dumbest characters in the entire series, which is kind of saying a lot. But throughout this journey, we're basically going to see his entire life story play out. So by the end of it, I hope you realize that he's a very lovable idiot. So as the bell rings in the morning, and the rest of the kids go to school, we see Shujinko sneak away to go train with Master Bo Rai Cho, who has no problems teaching minors playing hooky how to dismember people. And yeah, Bo Rai Cho is a bastardized, generically Asian-sounding version of the Spanish word borracho, which translates to drunk. And this fits cause this dude literally throws up and farts in battle, but he's super strong, and actually taught Liu Kang and Kung Lao how to fight too. Are you surprised that this isn't the most liked Mortal Kombat character either? There's kind of a trend going on in this mode, huh? So throughout Shujinko's training with Boraicho, he's tasked with visiting different schools to learn different techniques. And this is where we're introduced to Conquest's main gameplay loop of following a waypoint in an open world, but then getting sidetracked by all the little weirdos and freaks who live here and need Shujinko's help because they're incompetent. Every single NPC in Conquest mode can be talked to, and a lot of them give out side quests, and these side quests can get pretty ridiculous, and somehow, Shujinko is the only one who can solve anyone's problems. These side quests start off mild, like finding a key someone lost, or fighting a bully that has stolen other kids' lunch money. But they start to ramp up in goofiness fast, cause soon enough you'll be busting peeping toms outside of women's houses, or punching a dude straight in the face to get rid of his tooth that's hurting. Yeah, punching solves a lot of issues in Conquest mode, and luckily you can punch anyone at any time, and sometimes they'll be knocked out for hours. And I do mean hours, because Conquest mode has a running clock with an actual day and night system. And what's cool is that it's not just for show, cause a lot of the characters, quests, and even secrets can only be found at certain times throughout the day. Luckily, Shujinko has a godlike mental, and can pop a quick meditation sesh anywhere to fast travel through time. Another super cool thing is that basically every single building you see in this mode can be entered. Although they're usually barren with a random table thrown in, but hey, you could still go in. I still think all of this is super impressive even now. So yeah, while doing other people's chores or literally fixing their marriages, Shujinko learns how to kill from Bo Raicho, and feels like he's ready to leave their village for real adventures. But Bo Raicho is like, nah, you're still a kid, you need to stay here. So Shujinko walks away bummed, until a literal ball of light appears out of nowhere and tells him that he's been chosen for a super epic main character quest to save the world. This ball of light is Damashi, and he tells Shujinko that he's an emissary for the Elder Gods, and that he needs to find these rare artifacts called the Kamidogu that are spread throughout the various realms, so that he can return them to their rightful place under the Elder Gods' protection. Chad Shujinko then literally asks the ball of light, who claims to work for the Elder Gods, what if I don't want to do this quest? But Damashi coaxes Shujinko in by just saying that he'll pick another kid from the village if he declines. You're probably wondering why the Elder Gods would pick some random 12-year-old kid to save the realms, and honestly, I don't know either. And this only gets more confusing later on. So to send him off on this new quest, Damashi gives Shujinko the ability to copy any martial artist ability, to give this literal child any kind of fighting chance out there. So with this new ability, Shujinko beats Bo Raicho's ass, and he's so impressed that he invites him to leave the village to go train personally with him at his house. Even though that's like what we've already been doing inside the village, but okay. And I don't know why this killed me, but the first thing we see outside of the village is a giant sign that literally says Bo Raicho's house. Anyways, this is where the game really opens up, and you're free to explore the rest of Earthrealm. And honestly, the maps are a lot bigger than you'd expect. Not only are there a bunch of new side quests to find, but this is where you start to see actual Mortal Kombat characters just walking around, like Jax or Cabal, who you can of course fight, or learn actual lore that hadn't been revealed in the canon up until that point. One of my favorite side quests is finding out why Bo Raicho doesn't fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament, after listening in on some villagers gossiping about it, in which he reveals that he can't because he's originally from Outworld. This is the kind of stuff I love about this mode. So after training with Bo Raicho at his house, we get our first of many time skips, cause it turns out Shujinko spent 5 years doing this, and now the dude is in his late teens. If this time skip feels sudden, given the fact that Shujinko was literally just given a quest to save the world, well, strap in cause it gets way dumber. While finally leaving his first master, Bo Raicho gives Shujinko one final task, to go find his warrior's medallion that he lost while out drinking with some dude on the docks. Apparently the warrior's medallion lets everyone know you're a really cool dude, so when Shujinko finds it, Damashi appears for what we can only assume is the first time in the past 5 years, and literally tells him to just straight up steal it and keep it so people can respect him. And Shujinko surprisingly agrees, so he keeps it. The first thing Shujinko does with this medallion is go join the damn Lin Kuei, who immediately let him train with Sub-Zero himself after seeing it. Damashi didn't tell Shujinko to go do this, by the way. This is all Shujinko. He stole this medallion and immediately wanted to become a ninja with it. After sparring with Sub-Zero, we're officially in the Lin Kuei, and we're given a mission to retrieve a rare artifact before the Red Dragon clan gets a hold of it, which coincidentally turns out to be one of the Kamidogu. The super important items that Shujinko needs to save all of the realms. I kinda love the idea that Shujinko was given a quest by the gods to seemingly save everything he knows and loves. And instead of doing anything about it, he trains with a drunk dude and Sub-Zero. Honestly, I really can't blame him. But Damashi then appears and realizes that Shujinko found a Kamidogu by complete chance, and tells him that he needs to take it to a Nexus portal to place it in an altar for safekeeping. Shujinko is legitimately bummed he has to betray his ninja bros to do this too. I love it. So we find a giant portal that I guess just exists here, and get transported to the Nexus that has portals to every Mortal Kombat realm, and each one of these has their own Kamidogu. The next realm we enter is the Nether realm, and Damashi tells Shujinko that he must be bad as hell to even be able to enter this place, which kind of implies that Damashi just sent him here without even knowing if his soul could handle it. But yeah, Shujinko now has to go through literal hell to find the MacGuffin. And honestly, this place rules. The atmosphere here is strong, and gives off a super cool liminal space type vibe that is just super nostalgic to me. Zombies and Onis roam around the wasteland, cultists speak backwards to you, and people even start hitting back when attacked. Okay, maybe this part sucks. You can even find Shinnok standing around, who gives you a stupid fetch quest, which is just funny considering that this dude is like a fallen elder god, but needs help finding something he dropped. As for the main plot, we gotta help Ashura kill some demons, who then tells us she's looking for the most evil demon in the Netherrealm, Ermac. So we go find Ermac, but through a stupid misunderstanding, Shujinko doesn't realize that Ermac is in fact the demon Ashura is looking for, and decides to help this random dude in hell find a soul stone to make him stronger. When realizing that he helped a literal demon, he just says, "Oh hey, I know someone that wants to fight you," and brings him to Ashura. The two do end up fighting, and kinda just disappear, but they leave a Kamidogu behind them. So Shujinko has legit dicked around, and accidentally found some of the most important items ever created twice now. I mean, he's not asking anyone for information on the Kamidogu. He just became a ninja for fun and found one, and now he just wanted to see a cool demon fight and found another. So we go back to the Nexus to place the new Kamidogu on the altar, and out of nowhere this rando shows up claiming he's been sent to protect the Nexus, and starts to fight Shujinko. This battle is probably one of the hardest fights in this mode, but seriously, who the hell is this guy? After we beat him, we get no more info on him. He never shows up again, and his Mortal Kombat wiki page literally just calls him Monster. This has to be the most random character in the entire series, which obviously means he needs to be a cameo in Mortal Kombat 1. So after that, we enter Chaos Realm next, which fittingly is a giant mess that's hard to navigate and very easy to get lost in. Shujinko stumbles upon Havoc, who's probably my favorite 3D era character, and he tells Shujinko he'll take him to some spiritual relics if he can help him assassinate 4 soldiers from the oppressive Order Realm who have taken over Chaos Realm's water supply. I won't lie, I kinda got tonal whiplash from this side quest, cause now Shujinko is getting involved in real Mortal Kombat political events. But as always, Shujinko immediately does what anyone tells him to do, so he goes to save the water pumps. Only for Havoc to double cross him, cause, you know, he's chaotic. After the fight, we get this amazing exchange of dialogue.
Well done.
Well done? You tried to kill me.
Nonsense. How could I teach you the way of chaos if there was an agreement, a structure to the lesson?
Oh, I think I understand. I was learning from the unpredictable nature of experience, not from a structured tutorial. I did not realize you had no intentions of harming me when you attacked, and therefore I learned to adapt to what I perceive to be a real threat.
And afterwards, Havoc takes us to a labyrinth where the next Kamidogu lies in a pool of strange orange water. Which of course turns out to be time-altering liquid, cause why not? When Shujinko walks in it, his perception of time gets all funky, and he spends over 10 years getting the Kamidogu without realizing it. Which is cool I guess, but doesn't really explain the new outfit. Anyways, both Damashi and Shujinko kinda just shrug it off, so I guess I should too. We go back to the Nexus to deliver the Kamidogu, and go on to the next realm, which is Outworld. Which is just nuts to me, cause I'm realizing that Damashi has literally just waited around almost like 20 years or something for Shujinko to get the Kamidogus. Is this quest not that important? Is he ever worried? He always acts surprised anytime Shujinko accomplishes something, so does Damashi even care? Anyways, when we arrive through the portal, Damashi tells Shujinko that Outworld sucks now, cause Shao Kahn has taken over it. But it used to be a really cool place when a dragon god named Onaga used to rule over it. Curious. Outworld has always been the main opposing realm in the Mortal Kombat universe, so it's legitimately super sick to finally explore it. And you can even go to iconic locations like the Living Forest. Okay, maybe this place isn't as cool as I thought it'd be. So we run into Melina who fights us, but after we beat her, she's so impressed with us that she asks Shujinko if he can go to a village to tell the village leader that he needs to surrender his head or all of his subjects will be slaughtered by the Tarkatans. And there isn't like some threat to Shujinko or anything. Melina just literally asks him to go handle some local politics, and he agrees for some reason. So we go to the village chief and he says he'll never surrender, even if it saves everyone. So Shujinko has the bright idea to visit Order Realm to see if they want to come help defend this village, since they did such a good job at forcibly occupying Chaos Realm and taking their water supply. The village chief thinks this sounds awesome, and tells us that we can give the Order Realm army a Kamidogu for their help. Damashi doesn't like this though, and says we can't give them the Kamidogu because that's our MacGuffin. So Shujinko's gonna have to solve this political mess some other way. Before we go get some help in Order Realm though, we can funnily enough run into Shao Kahn himself, who's looking very small. He gives us a side quest to go get Reptile, cause he lost something that Shao Kahn needs, and now he must pay with his life. But I love Reptile, and this dude has been jobbed on enough throughout the series. So, for once, I turn the other cheek. Go on, bro. Be free. Okay, Order Realm time. This place is definitely the most boring realm to explore, but I guess that's thematically accurate. We find the Order Realm General Hotaru, who agrees to help if we join the army and become cops to break up riots, and also give him control of the village and Outworld. Shujinko of course does this without a second thought. So we do all of that, and then go back to the village and Outworld to see that the Order Realm occupation was a success, and that the village chief was stripped of his title. But Shujinko literally doesn't care. Let's go oppressive military regimes! Also, again, I have to stress that this is still Shujinko's doing. He didn't have to go back here and do this to further the quest for the Kamidogu. He just does it because he wants to. After leaving the village, we run into Baraka, who is super pissed that we're the ones who got Order Realm here in the first place. So, of course he fights us, but after getting his ass kicked, he kinda becomes our bro, and tells us to get out of here before Shao Kahn finds out about him. Also, look at this loading screen. I love it. I'm sure someone out there got nightmares from this. When we get back to the Nexus, Damashi tells us that since we're doing such a super good job, the Elder Gods are giving Shujinko a special little treat and letting him achieve his childhood dream of fighting in the Mortal Kombat tournament to stop Shang Tsung. Shujinko is super hyped, but wonders how the Elder Gods knew he wanted to fight in the tournament, which is a ridiculous question. But it gets an even more ridiculous answer when Damashi reveals that he's been watching Shujinko as a young kid, so he told them. Alright. So we head back to Earthrealm and run into Kenshi, who tells us to keep an eye out for Shang Tsung, cause he wants to kill him, but can't find him because he's literally blind. After that, we immediately bump into Nightwolf, who tells us that our soul is corrupted and full of evil, which scares Shujinko, but Nightwolf has the ability to cleanse his soul. It's just going to take many years. But Shujinko agrees to do it, right then and there. I really don't know what to say about this. Shujinko has to save the realms and fight in Mortal Kombat, but immediately drops everything to go on a cool Native American adventure with a dude he literally just met. And this does take actual years, cause Shujinko has to be close to his 50s after it's done or something. I don't understand the time frame of any of this, but hey, his soul is clean. Also, why does a Native American dude know Taekwondo? Anyways, we run into Shang Tsung right after, who's just chilling here for some reason. So, we fight him, and he is super impressed with Shujinko, and does indeed invite him to the tournament. But we're already invited, who cares? Why doesn't Shujinko just try to take him out here? But Shujinko ends up telling Shang Tsung that we know a blind dude who also wants to fight him, and Shang Tsung is like, oh yeah, he can come to my tournament too, and then disappears. Now this part made me feel real bad, cause just a short walk away is Kenshi's blind ass just standing there, bummed out after we tell him that we just found Shang Tsung like down the road. Just a reminder that Kenshi has been searching for Shang Tsung for years, while we've been having bro time with Nightwolf, and just ran into Shang Tsung. So the two start to walk to the tournament, but Damashi appears and tells Shujinko that he seems different now. Shujinko tells him that he got his soul cleansed, which pisses Damashi off for some reason. So he orders Shujinko to skip the tournament, to go back to the Netherrealm to make his soul evil again, so he can travel through realms. Shujinko actually argues back this time, but Damashi tells him to stop being a baby and do this for the Elder Gods. Hard not to feel bad for the boy right now. But why did Damashi even want him in the tournament in the first place? So on our way back to the Nexus, we run into the other resident dumbass of the Mortal Kombat universe, Raiden, cause I swear, everything this dude does backfires on him in horrible ways. He doesn't want to let us in the portal, so we gotta beat him up to prove we're a champion for the Elder Gods. And he's super impressed and tells Shujinko he should fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament, which had to stink. Too soon, man. So we go back to the Nether Realm to dirty up our soul, and we end up helping Scorpion beat up Quan Chi, which, no joke, turns into some kind of slapstick bit.
I will torment you forever, sorcerer! Back! Stay back! I command you! Come here! Did you hear that?
It sounds like battle. Come, we will feast upon the loser.
This is implied to have taken years, by the way, even though there's no visual time skip. After doing all of this, Shujinko's soul is, I guess, nasty now, and Damashi tells us we can go back to the Nexus where we run into Raiden again, who tells us that we gotta help stop Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's new deadly alliance. Which, huh? I thought Scorpion just took care of Quan Chi. This timeline is very weird. Well, okay, time to go back to Outworld to help fight these dudes, but when we arrive, we get jumped by Kano.
Do you really think you can combat us all?
No, I suppose not.
Yeah, I actually do think Shujinko can handle this situation pretty easily. But we get enslaved by Kano and his goons anyway, and we're forced into some labor camp that we could just walk out of. Okay, cool. Interestingly, we can run into Blaze right afterwards, who is arguably the strongest non-god being in the Mortal Kombat universe. He apparently has amnesia, but thankfully we can find a memory potion and give it to him, so he can go on and get back to whatever he needed to do. Whatever that is. But back to the main quest. Shujinko again wants to get the Order Realm boys to take care of some political matters for him, so he runs back to Hotaru to tell him about the slave labor camp, only to be told that he has broken the village's curfew and is out too late. Which shouldn't be a big deal. But the Order Bros are freaks, and forcefully transport Shujinko to Order Realm to wait for his trial for breaking the law. Now brace yourself for the most ridiculous moment in Mortal Kombat history. And that's legitimately saying a lot, because Mortal Kombat is full of head scratchers. For our final time skip, Shujinko sits in jail for literal decades, awaiting his trial for being out too late by accident. Yes, Shujinko is elderly now. The literal creators of the universe gave this dude a job, and he somehow spent more time getting beat up by an alcoholic, having bro time with Nightwolf, and being the most civil prisoner ever than he has accomplishing anything for the Kamidogus. And remember, every Kamidogu he has found has been through sheer coincidence. But he's still a good boy, cause he's been waiting patiently knowing that justice will prevail when he finally goes to trial, which is apparently happening soon. Until Dairu shows up and kills the guards in his cell to bust him out. Shujinko is pretty pissed at this, but Dairu tells him that Damashi hired him for this jailbreak, which is pretty funny all things considered, cause first of all, why did Damashi wait so long? Second of all, why didn't he just get someone else to get the remaining Kamidogu for him? And third of all, now we have to imagine that Damashi appeared to Dairu and hired him for this job with money somehow. Shujinko then decides to run to the courthouse and immediately snitch on Dairu and explain the situation to Hotaru, but Hotaru doesn't want to hear any of it, so Shujinko reluctantly fights him, and then takes Order Realm's Kamidogu, which is just conveniently here, of course. Afterwards, Damashi appears, and Shujinko goes off on him about how messed up it is for the Elder Gods to hire a hitman to kill people, but Damashi tells Shujinko to shut up, and that he can't judge literal gods, cause he's done bad stuff too. So, the quest continues for the last Kamidogu, which is in Edenia. This realm is significant in the Mortal Kombat canon, cause it's where Katana and Sindel ruled before Shao Kahn came and took it over. When arriving, Shujinko finally asks Damashi why the hell he's even doing all of this in the first place, and Damashi literally sighs.
If it will serve to emphasize the importance of your quest, I will tell you what I can.
And acts super annoyed that Shujinko is even questioning any of this mission at all. It's revealed that the Kamidogu were created by the Elder Gods to stop the one true being in a fight, kinda mirroring how the Greek gods fought the Titans. Damashi has gotten Shujinko to collect them all and store them in the Nexus for safekeeping before someone else can use them nefariously. Shujinko is actually happy finding out that the reason he's doing this is pretty important, and we get the only wholesome moment between these two that will ever happen. Adenia is definitely the shortest realm, and pretty barren too. It definitely feels like the devs have run out of steam to finish this mode, cause all we gotta do to get the Kamidogu is talk to Katana, who tells us to break out Sindel from her Shao Kahn captors. Which we do, and then she just walks out like it's nothing. I just love this stupid table, man. Why is it here? Why is it in every room? After that, Sindel gives Shujinko the Kamidogu to keep it away from Shao Kahn. We did it! Even though we didn't do anything about the deadly alliance Raiden told us about. But we got the last Kamidogu, everyone. So we run to the Nexus to finish the quest. But out of nowhere, Scorpion comes in and tries to stop us. Cause now he's claiming that he's a champion for the Elder Gods. But anyways, we beat him up of course, and place the final Kamidogu down. And nothing happens. Shujinko is of course pretty confused by this, when suddenly a giant dragon walks in and starts calling him an idiot. But this dude still doesn't catch on. So the monster has to explain that he's actually the Dragon King Onaga, and he's been acting as Damashi the entire time to trick Shujinko into collecting all of the Kamidogu for him so he can rule all of the realms. Learning this, Shujinko straight up runs his ass away, and is like, damn, I messed up, man. Our boy really got Mortal Kombat deceptioned. We do get to see Shujinko reflect on how he's gotten strong, so he can help defeat the beast he's created. But in the opening of the game, we see Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and Raiden literally kill themselves trying to stop this dude to no effect. So, Shujinko really kind of blundered a little bit here. So that's surprisingly the end of Conquest mode. But to get the true resolution to this story, we have to play through arcade mode, which makes sense in game, cause Onaga is the final boss of the arcade mode, but it also means that Conquest's ending is just our protagonist running away. This final battle is pretty cool though, cause it has a cute gimmick where you have to break all the Kamidogus on the stage to weaken Onaga before you can defeat him. And Shujinko does beat Onaga, and looks super badass doing it. Nice job. You saved the world from your own stupidity, Grandpa. But not really, cause through goofy shenanigans, Onaga comes right back in Armageddon. And to make it worse, we see Shujinko getting jobbed in the intro to that game. Give this guy a break. And that's it. We never really get a good resolution for Shujinko in the original timeline. In the end, he still looks dumb. But like the more you think about it, Onaga is kind of the dumb one. He's supposed to be some all-powerful being, but the dude went about getting all of the Kamidogu in the most convoluted way. He just kinda sat around while some kid went on goofy adventures for literal decades. Also, why did he tell Shujinko to go fight in Mortal Kombat? I guess he really was just being nice and throwing Shujinko a bone, cause doing that wouldn't have benefited him at all. Plus, now we know a dragon god was putting on a goofy voice to try and convince some 12-year-old to collect the most important artifacts ever created, and even got frustrated with him at some points. Honestly, I love that. And I love this mode. It's terribly stupid and doesn't make too much sense when you put it to any kind of critical thought, especially cause all of the time skips make no sense. Raiden tells us to stop the Deadly Alliance, but Shujinko goes to jail for years, gets out, and the Alliance is still around and no one has aged. But I don't care, cause it's genuinely fun to explore this world and talk to these characters, because the Midway team was being sincerely goofy with it, in a way that I don't think would be possible nowadays.
Here, take this.
And that's why it genuinely makes me so happy to see this dumb old man back in Mortal Kombat 1. Shujinko rules. I didn't talk about so much of the side stuff in this game, so I super recommend checking Deception's Conquest modes out to punch some random villagers yourself. It's pretty short, but full of character. Also, seriously, who the hell was this guy? Thanks.